Good day, everybody. Bernard King and my green out face. Football, back, everybody. How you guys doing on this Thought for Thursday? This is your daily NFL and college football news blitz. So, first things first in the NFL, the New York Giants and defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence is pretty much have come to an impasse in terms of negotiations. Now, according to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, that these negotiations have relatively broken off. So pretty much the trade is probably going to be more imminent and things of that nature. So we will see whether Giants make a trade before the draft or after June 1st. We'll see how that goes. So more than likely, Dexter Lawrence pretty much is going to get traded. Now, moving on to the Cowboys, staying within the NFC East. Now, according to Stephen Jones, the president and operating officer of the Dallas Cowboys, he was quoted. He said that the Cowboys hasn't received any calls in regards to a trade for George Pickens and things of that nature. He was also quoted saying this to the fans that you hate to get into things like that, but no, we have no one call with interest in George Pickens. He told the fan that on Tuesday, 105.3 via the team website, things of that nature. So, no calls for George Pickens in terms of the trade of that nature. Now, moving on to the next story. On the Dolphins, GM John Sullivan is aiming for an extension to extend David Achene. So pretty much the Dolphins, David Achene pretty much going to get a bag contract negotiations and things of that nature. And basically, John Sullivan was quoted saying that he's not available for trade. So pretty much, if you want to trade for David Achene, pretty much you're not going to, Devon, my bad. Correction, Devon Achene. You're pretty much not going to get any kind of trade for that. Also, moving on to another story. Ty Simpson is going to be visiting the Cardinals before the draft, and also Drew Aller is going to be visiting the Pittsburgh Steelers before the draft. So they're pretty much probably going to be going to those teams. So Ty Simpson could be a top 10 first round pick in this year's NFL draft. We'll see how that goes, things of that nature. Now, moving on to another story. Arch Manning, quarterback for Texas, is feeling 100% after having a successful surgery this offseason. So pretty much Texas will relatively have their game, their T game or Longhorn Day game this weekend coming up. So Arch Manning pretty much back in the fold in terms of quarterback play. Live stream coming up this weekend, April 19th at 8 p.m. I'll give you guys more information on that. See you soon. Holla. Peace out.